Okay, so we finished off the base. The base on its own is all set. Had some time to dry. And we've got the space background. Let me show you guys the underneath. Everything is nice and solid, and that's not going anywhere. So what I think we're going to do now is we're going to start working on the secondary hull. So it's going to go like this, and we're going to put it on. It's going to go that way. I think what we're going to do is the inside of the secondary hull is going to be lit, as the nacelle pylons are going to be lit. The primary hull as well obviously is going to be lit. The nacelles aren't going to be lit, only because we're going to do it just like it did, like she appeared in the introduction. And in the Bassard collectors, she had the antennas. So we got to light the secondary hull. We got to light the observation deck, and I want to light the two the blinking lights. I think they're actually scanners that are in the back. And obviously we got to light the secondary hull windows. Alright, let's kind of put it together haphazardly. So we got the primary hull, and as she's going by, the lights aren't here like they are later on in the series. They're actually back here. So we're going to put the lights over there. Because we have the extra blinking lights for the beacons, I don't know if I'm going to put greens on one side and reds on the other with the white. We'll see how it works out. I think we're going to have to do first, I think, because we got to open up all these windows. I think the first thing I need to do is to take all the parts that are going to be lit, and we're going to spray them with, where is my trusty Rust-Oleum, the metallic finish, just like we did in the secondary hull base when we put it on the base. So you can see how it can reflect the light. So let's go ahead and put the base off, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and the primary hull needs to be painted. The sides of the secondary hull need to be painted, as do the saucer pylon. Okay, so we got our paint booth set up, and what I want to do is I want to give these a good spray. Again, we're not going to totally saturate everything. I just want to get a quick coat on them, just to block out some of the light and get a reflective coat on the inside. Put this here to dry. Okay, so we're going to wait for these to dry, and when they're dry, we'll be ready to move on with the placement of the lights, and we got to drill out the windows. Right in the middle. You see these three circles, and you always think they're always lit, but the one in the middle on the filming model for the pilot or the early model has the flashing light in the front. So we've accounted for all the lights. Again, these are not going to be bright. So I was thinking of maybe running a separate circuit into the primary hull and into the secondary hull, and actually putting some LED tape on the inside of this section and in the inside of that section, so we could illuminate the windows. And you can see there is some of the round ones on the saucer pylon. Let's see right here. There. I said this size ended up being perfect. And let's see, there's two more. Let me make sure I can see these. And we got one here. There. Okay, so the only ones, let me show you guys. And it's funny with this kit, there are no little tabs, so everything is smooth the way it goes together. So let me see if I can actually clamp it. We'll get it just like so. And then clamp it to keep it closed, but if you guys can see the, let me see where my light is. So we get that, we've got the So let me kind of show you guys. We got the holes cleaned out, and again, my eyesight's not the best, so I'm sure there's people out there that could have done a much better job than what I did, because my eyes, I have a hard time seeing it. But you can see we've got the window openings. Like I told you guys, we have the lights, they're all spoken for. I don't want to add on to this lighting kit. Those of you that have made this model before or seen them, when the lights blink, the deflector dish would blink because it would draw power and it'd be a noticeable drop. I don't want the lights to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a light strip at the bottom of the secondary hull, and I'm going to put a light strip in the bottom of the primary hull. Put it around. That way there we won't have to worry about anything being lit up, and we won't have to use this electrical system at all. So I was trying to run a wire, and you guys can see we pretty much glued everything into place, so that's not going anywhere. So what I had to do in order to power the lights, I've got the wire coming out the bottom of the base, and I had to run it up alongside and go into the base of the ship. So what I'm going to do is we're going to super glue this into place, and then I'm going to paint it, and then we'll put the little specks of the stars on. And that way there, we'll have a power supply that'll furnish the lighting strip, and then going up into the primary hull. So we can light, all the windows will be nice and bright. So getting back to the windows, I think what I'm going to do is, because you don't want to just shine a light through it, let me see if I can light it up for you guys. This is where it was on the trees. Okay, so I put one coat of paint on, and I think that's going to be good. And the way the bottom section is, I had it upside down. Alright, so everything's been painted. And you can see I like the Rust-Oleum. I only put one coat, just enough to kind of tone down. So it's not like a bright reflective white. It's more like a toned down single coat. You can see the way the plastic colored was, and you can see what the light coat of paint put on it. So I think that's pretty good. And we've got the shuttle bay doors, and we've got the remember we had done the sides of the ship. And again, guys, I like to do my videos and show you guys what not to do. So what I did was I tried to cut the windows, and I had a hard time seeing the little outlines of the windows. They're little rectangles, and unfortunately some of them weren't even. That's why some of the windows are really, it looks like somebody took a machine gun and went on the side of the model. I found this out late. Photo Etch actually has a template specifically designed for the 1650 USS Enterprise kit from AMT. What you do is you take the template and you tape it onto the model, and then you can use a drill and you can go in and you can follow all the guidelines. And that's, I wish I would have known about that earlier, but it is what it is, and as a result these windows look kind of terrible, but we're going to move on. So why don't we take off the, because we painted the hull as well, and why don't we go ahead and take off the plastic that I had protecting the wires from the paint. We're going to make sure not to cut any of the wires. I don't like unwrapping a gift on Christmas. I want to make sure that no paint went down and got on the base. And that's another mistake that I made. I would have gone back and I would have painted this section before gluing it onto the base. And again, I don't know how it went down because I painted it upside down and it still managed to bleed through, so. But that's okay. We'll fix it. And then we'll put more of the stars onto the base. You guys remember, we've got the beautiful deflector dish. So let's take the deflector dish off the tree. And again, we'll touch that up. But what I want to do is, I think I want to paint the deflector dish before we put it on. It might be a little bit easier. So we've got the Aztec from Testers, and this is the copper. And this is for the deflector dish. There, let me see if I can. Just like that. Now we can go ahead and we'll do the inner rings. Then we can think about putting on the deflector dish. And I just seen the deflector dish. Where is it? Here it is. We may have to put 2 coats. I'm not sure. There we are. You can see how that outer lip, or the outer ring, you gotta make sure that's nice and clean, because that's gonna be white. There is gonna be no copper on that. So, and then we can go back and we can give the inside finishing touch later. There, I love the way the Testers looks. And on the Polar Lights 1/350 scale Enterprise, it uses, as suggested, the Testers copper. And I think that looks really good. I've done this in gold as well. I like the way it looked in gold, but if you want screen accurate, you got to go with the copper. That looks pretty good. So we'll put this to the side and let this dry. Looks like I got a ball. Okay, we gotta let all that dry right now. You know what I think the problem is with mine? It's old. Because I've had this for a few years now. Okay, so we got the windows curing, we got the deflector dish housing drying. Why don't we think about doing the light strip? And I'll be using the EB7120 light strip. This stuff is really, really great. So we can do 3, 3, so we can do 6. And when it comes to the secondary hull, that should be good. So why don't we go ahead and make sure, guys, when you cut it right on the line. And I'll tell you why in a minute. The reason why you want to cut it right down the middle is so that next time you can have the leads, the positive and a negative, in order to solder it to. And then when you go back for the next piece, you can see we've got the positive and the negative. Okay, so that should be good for now. And what we can do is we'll wire that, we can solder it, and then we can run the wire off of that up into the primary hull to illuminate the saucer section. Remember, you won't be able to do anything without the flux because the solder won't stick to what you're trying to do. So you take some of the flux, and it's going to go on the wires themselves. And we're going to put it on the leads. And this is going to help the solder actually stick to it. There. Now we need to make sure that these work. So I ended up going with the 9-volt, and what we'll do is the 9-volt battery, we're going to put it up in there. I just got to figure out how to secure it, but you can see, let's put it on. And this way here, we don't have to worry about the lack of power. So this will light it up nicely, the 9 volts. And what we got to do is we have to solder off of here, and we'll put another wire, and what the wire is going to do is going to be a connector to go up into the primary hull. So I think we're going to do that before we glue it down into place. So I like to put plenty on the wires themselves, and we got to put some on the contacts on the LED tape. Okay, so you can see we're testing it out, and we got the end up there touching, so you got to make sure they don't touch. But just like that, now you guys can see everything is working fine. So the current is going up, and that's going to be into the primary hull. So why don't we go ahead and we'll put this away, and we're all set to glue hot glue the strip down in the secondary hull. The deflector dish housing, what I thought would be pretty cool is the edge. I mean, it's copper, but what I did was I kind of put just a little bit of the gold to highlight the rings on the inside. So I think that looks pretty cool. And we'll put the deflector dish itself on after it's together. So let's check to see if the glue gun is ready, because we got to put this. It's going to go just like that. So, let's see. Nice. The glue gun just makes everything so much easier. Alright, so it's going to, just like so. There, you guys can see. Let's see if we can bring it a little bit more to the center. So we got to make it so that. All right, let's try putting it on so we can take a look-see. See? So we got the secondary hull. We got that lit up, and there, you can kind of see how she's starting to come together. So we're almost ready to glue the secondary. We're going to do the power supply on the bottom, and the way we'll have it is we'll have the 4 AA, and we'll have the 9 volt, and that'll power the ship up pretty nicely. See, we got to put the wires in. want to make sure that they don't go anywhere. And we still got to make sure that we can put the base down. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Let me make sure you guys can see that. See how we can still, it's coming out just a bit, but we hold it down and we'll be able to put the base back flat. And the way I did it was, originally this kit had a little platform that went in there, and the tray for the batteries would just go into it, but that's long since gone, so I'm not sure what happened to that, so we had to do it this way. And let's see, I'd like to get the back together. I'm not sure if we should clamp that. Let's see what it'll do. Why don't we go ahead and start to think about fixing the wire into position. So we're going to take a little bit of the super glue. And what I'll do is I'll put a drop and we'll let it run all the way down. And we'll give the glue, hopefully you can see the shiny reflection. We'll give that a little bit of time just to kind of settle in, and then we'll push the wire in, and we're gonna have to hold it for a while. So let me go ahead and put the glue away. There. Let's see. Hopefully you can see that we got the wire to be in there a little bit. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna wait for all the glue to dry. And then what we can do, we can go ahead and we can paint it. But let's go ahead and we're going to have to wait for everything to dry. And when everything is dry, we'll move on. All right, so let's unclamp the hull. Okay, so we got some pieces from our 1/350 scale Enterprise, and we have the plastic pieces. And what I want to do is, in particular, going to be looking at the clear parts and the green parts, because we're going to need to put the observation deck on the back. Let's see. Do we have anything else that's green down on the bottom? I think that might work for this size. And we can we'll hot glue them where the lights will make contact with these. So these are the holes for the sensors. What do you guys think? We got that one. That's probably a little more accurate to the scale. So why don't we put these in. And put a little bit of, just a little bit of touch up. So why don't we go ahead and we're gonna glue that now. Let's put the light in. All right, guys, what do you think? And then we're gonna have it lit that way. And don't worry about the light leak, we'll fix that. while all of this is drying, let's start to think about the shuttle bay. So let's take the shuttle bay doors off the tree. There. So when that's on, we'll get the light from the top. Just enough to know it's there. Okay, so let me show you guys. This is actually going to go right in like that. So maybe what we can think of doing is we can glue this in place in the back of the hull on the bottom. Is going to be for the windows. This one is staying in a secondary hull, so why don't we start trying to get these through? All right. Alright, so the zip ties can help, and because there's so many wires in there, it's going to be tough trying to get it to stay together. Even though they're pulled out, as far as it'll go, you got to just wait for the glue to set. So let's put a little bit of glue. And while that's setting, we can go ahead and finish up the base. So let's... Here we are. Okay, so the base is all set. And going all the way around. And the base has come a long way. We put the modifications in. So we've got the batteries for the lighting kit and the sounds, and then we put in the additional power pack for the lights. And we got the wires running up. This is going to go into the primary hull. The nacelles have no lights. We've got the Model Master, the duck egg blue. All right. Okay, so everything has had a nice long time to dry. And you can see we got the base. That's all finished up to the top. Everything is glued. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take off the clamps. These things come in really handy. All right, now let's take off the straps. There we are. Everything is nice and solid, so that's pretty good. So I like to use the perfect plastic putty. And the beauty of this stuff is when it's hard, if you wish, you can sand it, or my favorite part about it is you can actually just use a damp cloth and wash most of it away. There's a blue section, just a little area. It's not much, but it is noticeable. And that's in duck egg blue. So what I want to use is, we've been using the duck egg blue for the 1350 Star Trek The Motion Picture USS Enterprise refit. A little bit more because we don't want the windows to show. Yeah, that's better. You guys can see that. And again, the biggest reason for the masking tape is just that we want the line straight. There. I don't think we'll need to give it 2 coats, but and you can see, again, it's not going to be super noticeable, just enough so that you guys know that it's there. And we'll do this side. There. Okay, so she had some time to dry, and the painting is done, the trim is done. The only thing I didn't take into account was the fact that all these wires just about clog the saucer pylon, so the light doesn't travel up in there. So I'm wondering if maybe we can have a light that we can put into there permanently. We'll see as that goes along. And the only thing that's left, you know, I was wondering, I was contemplating weathering this, kind of like the 1/350 scale, but we'll see. We'll see. Again, I did the duck egg blue, and you really, unless you're really looking for it, it's hard to see. But one of the things that like I said, I really regret doing is I really butchered up these windows. I wish there was a way to fix that. That's why that sucks. So, and again, with all the wires and everything on the inside, I mean, these windows are lit, but it's not as noticeable as the port side. But, and again, the issues with it going together was a problem. But anyway, this is the secondary hull, and we're able to move on. And I think what I'm going to do next is we're going to do the nacelles. Let me show you guys. Because there's no wires in the nacelles. There's no lights. I thought about lighting the nacelle pylons. That would be pretty cool. I did that on Joe's 1/350 scale, but there are no wires. So I think we're going to do that next. And then once the nacelles are ready, then we'll put the decals on for this half of the ship. And then we can move on to the primary hull. But my friends, I thank you so much for those of you that watched. And again, I appreciate all the kind words and the support that I've gotten during my build. Not just with this one, with all of my models. I really appreciate it. Because I'm far from professional, very amateur, as you can see in the results of all my models. So again, thank you so much, guys. So until we move on to the nacelles, I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.